Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Am I a Genius? Right now, I'm sitting in my car in the little side makeshift driveway hurricane flood prevention something that my grandpa made at my grandma's house. So basically I'm at my grandma's house. I'm sitting in my car right now because I'm charging our phones because Hurricane Milton has just hit. Thank you very much. I love Florida. But on a real note, we didn't really get hit too bad, so I'm very thankful. We're just out of power at the moment, so I'm sitting in my car charging up our phones, and for some reason my grandma's house has terrible Wi-Fi, but it also doesn't let me just use my data. Like, I don't know where, like, the towers or whatnot, like, the data just doesn't reach my phone when I'm at my grandma's house. For some reason, I just cannot access the internet, or it takes extremely slow, even if I'm connected to the Wi-Fi or not. So, like, I'm just sitting in this car looking at my YouTube screen to load, and it's just not loading. And I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna take like another hour to charge our phones up. And I'm just sitting here in my car wearing the most crazy outfit. I'm wearing my grandma's like rain boots. She calls them her little Webbers, but they have like little flowers on them. I'm wearing my Adam Sandler shorts, which are just like these cotton shorts that kind of finish at like they like end mid-thigh, like they're super long and stuff, so I call them my Adam Sandler pants. And I'm just wearing like this pink t-shirt, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I wanted to record this like video wise as well as my audio, because I really enjoy when podcasts have like a video aspect to them, because I love long form like YouTube videos. Like, I just love that, and like that's what I wanted to do for my podcast, but I'm A, too lazy to go get my camera, and B, last time I tried recording like this first episode of my podcast, the camera just like died. It didn't die, but like it overheated and all the footage was lost, and it was really upsetting because what I was talking about was like, actually maybe I still have that recording. Maybe I'll like add that into this, or I don't know. But what I was saying was like talking about, like, I don't know, I just felt like it was like a good intro to what I want to talk about. Am I making any sense? I don't think so. I haven't gotten any sleep. I got a little bit of sleep, but the hurricane hit us. I live on the east coast of Florida. Like, I live in Daytona. So this hurricane was coming from the west and all that, yada yada. Like, it didn't really hit that bad, but it was super strong winds and like a lot of rain. It was just like really loud and banging around all night. Like, and I was a little nervous and like stressed out for some reason. Like, I usually don't get stressed out with these hurricanes, but I don't know, with this one I was definitely a little more anxious and stuff, so I really couldn't sleep. But now, what was I talking about? Oh, so yeah, first episode of the podcast, if this does make it to the interweb. Hi, my name is Chiaki Worsham, and from after this episode, they're all gonna be video episodes, which I, already explained that I prefer that. However, I just felt like I needed to kickstart this podcast already. I've been thinking about it. I've been like, you just have to do it. You just have to like do it, or else it's never gonna happen. Like, this podcast is never gonna happen if I don't just sit down and record an episode and upload it. Like, it doesn't even need to be good. Just like pump out some episodes and then I'll figure it out. But I have a lot to talk about, but at the same time I'm so exhausted. Like, I don't want to talk about anything, which I don't know. But the podcast is called Am I a Genius? And I thought I would dive into that a little bit more. The way I came up with this name is kind of a long story, but also not a story at all. I'm 20 years old. I'm in college, kind of. That's also a very long story that I'll either get into in this episode or the next. But I'm 20 and this is my third year of college, and I've gone to 3 different colleges. Okay, so my first year I went to this place called Stetson University. It's in DeLand, Florida, and it's a private school, so you already know it's super expensive. Like, I think my tuition was like $80,000 a year, or a semester, not a semester, like a whole school year. And I was like, bruh. But I didn't even understand that because I got a full ride. So I was like, oh, like, that's how much college usually is. Like, no, it's not. I got a full ride there, and that's the only reason why I went there, because my dream school my whole life was UF, University of Florida. I always wanted to go there since I was like 8 years old. Yes, I've been thinking about college since I was in 3rd grade. It's a very long story, but it's definitely true. You know, if you know me, or if you know someone that knows me, or if you just want to take my word on it, that's fine. I've been thinking about college since I was in 3rd grade, and that's also because I was stripped away from home at 3rd grade. I had to move to New Jersey, away from my entire family with my mom. I moved with my mom, and I left my entire family in Florida, so that was like hard and rough and traumatizing, but I'm definitely over it because I dwelled on it like my whole childhood. Like, anyways, I'm over it. I honestly love New Jersey. I love Florida. I'm in a very limbo stage in my life right now, but you know, I'm grateful that I got to meet all my friends and stuff there. Anyways, Stetson University. I don't get into my dream school. It's senior year. My head was just like so stubborn, and I only applied to schools in Florida because I was like, I'm going to college in Florida. Like, that's been my plan since I was a little kid, because that was the only possible reason. Plausible or possible? Maybe both, a little bit of both. I was just like, that's the only way I'm going to get back home. Like, the only way I'm going to get back home is if I go to college there, because I was too young to make like rash decisions of like, I'm moving. I can't decide where I'm moving. I was a child. And my parents didn't really like fight and go to court and all that yada yada stuff. It was just kind of, we had like an agreement, I guess. I don't know. I visited my dad and my whole family, aside from my mother, every school break I had until I got a little bit older, and like I became a cheerleader, so like I really couldn't be taking breaks like that all the time, so I got to see my family. It was just more of a holiday basis, break basis, so it was just like I was chasing my childhood my whole life. I was like, I just want to get back to my home and get back to my lifestyle, like, and do what I was doing. So that's what I was chasing my whole life. And then my little pea brain as a child was like, yep, college is the way out. College is the way that no one gets hurt, no one gets upset. It's the easiest way. Like, no one can tell me anything. Like, I'm just gonna go to college in Florida. So that was my goal my whole life, and I accomplished that. So I apply to 4 schools, I think. I applied to UF because that was my dream school. I applied to UCF. I applied to USF. I think I applied there, but I wasn't like actually gonna go there. I just applied to apply. So all I cared about was UF, to be honest. And once I didn't get into UF, I was heartbroken. My dreams were crushed. I was like, my life is over. This is the end. Womp womp. But that, in fact, was not the case. So after that, I applied to Stetson because they had been sending me, like, boxes in the mail and stuff. And my dad and, like, my family in Florida was like, oh my god, if you can get in, like, that's amazing. Like, that's, like, the Harvard of the South. It's, like, super prestigious. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I apply, I get in, I got a full ride. I think I got into UCF, I'm not too sure. I didn't care about any other school but UF. Like, I applied to 4 schools. I also applied to the University of Hawaii because I knew I would get in, and I did that as an ego boost after I didn't get into UF, because I wanted to feel better about myself. I was never actually going to go, But I just wanted to be like, yeah, I'm gonna, might catch me in Hawaii. Like, Chiaki, are you kidding me? With what my life turned out to be, like, after high school, I would have had a nervous breakdown if I moved alone to Hawaii. I think I would have actually, like, combusted. Like, I would have blown up from stress and anxiety, because there's no shot that I was going to be that far from anyone that I knew alone. Anyway, so I go to Stetson. My Southern family is super happy and proud of me. They're like, oh my god, that's great. However, and I got a cheer scholarship. That was a big thing. Like, I decided I wanted to continue cheering in college when I was touring schools, because I put a lot of stress on the sport, and I needed to be perfect, and like the sport is toxic itself, if you've ever been in that environment, but yeah, I was a very competitive cheerleader for 8 years around that, and I had done all different levels of cheerleading. I had done like your town cheer, your high school cheer. I did like rec competition. I did all-star. I did all the level. I did like high school competition, like regular football cheer. Like, I did all the levels. Like, so I got a good understanding of the whole just like the sport in general. I got to see it through like 8 different lenses, because I did like 8 different types of cheer throughout my life. And senior year, I was like, okay, college is where, you got to start thinking about your career. And I already knew what my major was going to be. I knew what I wanted to be. So I was like, gotta grind, cheer. There's no future in it. Like, and all it does is just give you stress. Like, don't do it. Then I started touring colleges senior year, and I was like, there is no shot you are catching me sitting in this stand rather than being on the field. Like, I was like, why would I watch a football game ever? Like, that's so weird. I'd rather just stand there, like, on the grass and, like, flip around and yell silly little cheers and stuff. Like, football cheers so, ridiculous to me, but it's, like, I'd rather do that than sit there and do nothing, like, watch the game. Like, I don't know. I just felt like a calling. I was just like, yeah, you're meant to cheer in college. And I was like, okay. And I knew I would have FOMO too, like if I saw other people cheering and I wasn't, I was like, because I know I can do that, I was like, I know I'm capable of doing all of those skills and learning the cheers and whatever, and like, yeah, it's stupid, but like, I can do it, so I'm gonna do it, was kind of the mindset. It was kind of like an ego thing too. But, so I got a cheer scholarship to Stetson as well. Scholarship needs to be used extremely lightly, because I think I got like $1,000 a semester, which is a lot of money, but not in college world, especially if your tuition is like $83,000 a year. Like, it was not much, but I was elated because I thought it was just me. Like, I thought I was like this super talented freshman that just got all this money. No, every single person on the team got the same exact scholarship. And then, like, we had gotten a new coach, like, the year before I came, and she was kind of crazy. That's a whole nother story in itself. But, you know, I don't regret my experience at all, but she was definitely a character. I wish her the best. But, so, like, the veterans on the team were explaining to me that the more you provided to the team, the more money you got, until this coach came. Because once this coach came, everyone got the same amount of money except maybe like 3 girls, because like they got like an extra 1,000, which was like literally nothing, like an extra $500 a semester, because it was like their 3rd year on the team or something. Like, and they were telling me like, oh, like if you tumble, you get an extra money. If you stunt, you get extra money. If you can do this, you get extra money. I'm like, okay, not to toot my own horn, but I'm doing all of this stuff. Where is my money? I was only getting upset with that because everyone was getting the same amount, and for some reason on this team, there were girls that had never cheered a day in their life on a D1 cheer team. This was considered D1, but it's not D1. Like, technically it's D1, like in the papers, but we are nowhere near that level of cheerleading. Yeah, so that was like, oh god, that's like a whole story in itself. I think I should do an episode on each college I've gone to. So in this first episode, I'm just going to give you kind of the spark notes, which is really hard for me because I am a detailed speaker. Like, when I tell stories, I can't make them short and sweet. Like, I need to tell you every single thing. Like, I was like, yeah, and then the sidewalk, you know, it had a yellow curb strip painted on it, and then I walked here, and then I smelled it. Like, no one, like, I get so detailed, and it's not even important, but, like, I need to explain everything. In order for me, because I want you to, like, I want to paint the picture. I want you to be able to, like, see exactly what I'm seeing in my head when I tell a story, you know? So I'm gonna try my very best to give spark notes of all the colleges I went to, and then I'm gonna dive into full-length episodes of every college I've been to so far. So that's fun. Let's see if I remember to do that. Anyways, so I got there, so I had a cheer scholarship, whatever. That's why I decided to go there, because I wanted to flex the fact that I had a cheer scholarship. Not a flex at all. Like, it was not a flex at all, but they did not need to know. My high school peers did not need to know the reality behind that cheer scholarship. But I got a cheer scholarship, I got a full ride, and that's why I went to that school, even though they didn't have my major, because I knew my major was going to be architecture. I wanted to do architecture for a really long time, like, growing up. I think I decided it, like, early high school, late middle school, because before architecture, I wanted to be a mathematician, but I didn't even know what a mathematician was. I just knew that it was my favorite subject in school, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a mathematician because I am good at math. And then I started to watch HGTV. I know this is, like, horrible to, like, any actual architect or, like, interior designer. Like, HGTV is, like, the devil. But it inspired me. I was like, I really want to build houses, and I'm really interested in that stuff. And, like, growing up as a kid, I started to realize that I thought a little bit different from everyone else. Hence, am I a genius? Actually, that's not the reason why I named this Am I a Genius? Well, kind of. I'll get into that. That was what I started explaining. How did I get to Stetson? I don't know. This episode is all over the place, but I hope you guys are following. So yeah, I'm a little different, and the only way and plausible explanation as to why I'm different is because I'm a genius. Short and sweet explanation as to why I named this Am I a Genius? Anyways, so I wanted to be an architect. I didn't really know what an architect did. I just knew they had something to do with building stuff, like building buildings and stuff, and I knew that there was math involved. Newsflash, spoiler alert, if you want to become an architect because it has something to do with math, please become an engineer, because architects do not use math at all. They don't even use addition. Like, no math will ever be used in architecture. Period. That is a statement that is completely true. So, take that with what you will. God, it's raining. I'm a little nervy. It's fine. I'm literally just sitting right next to the house, like, in my car. Like, I'll be fine. Oh, God. I need water. Anyways, these boots are a little uncomfortable, but it's okay. What was I talking about? So I decided my major is architecture. I went to Stetson knowing that they didn't have architecture, and I was like, it'll be fine. I'll just transfer, you know, I'll just get, like, my AA and transfer. I'm saying all this stuff as if I know anything about college. I did not know a single thing about about college. Whoa, just stumbled on my words. I did not know a single thing about college. Neither did my parents, because they didn't go. They know some things just because, you know, they're, like, older than me and lived in the world, but they don't really know how things work. Like, I fill out my FAFSA forms. Like, they did not know what that was. I don't even know why I brought that up, but did you guys hear that? I just, did my windshield wipers. Anyways, so yeah, I was willing to go to a school that didn't have my major because I was like, it's fine, I'll just like transfer anyways, like I'm not planning to graduate from here. So that happened, and then I slowly learned that this is a private school and they don't really have gen eds. Like, they have their own specific curated gen eds that are built for people that are going to graduate from that school, and they don't transfer to public universities. Like, the course itself could transfer, you can fight the credit and stuff, but it's not like English 101, English 102. Okay, your writing requirements are completed. It was like, I took the history of environmental science. What? And I wrote a 10-page paper about ocean acidification. And that was my freshman seminar. What is a freshman seminar? What? This is like all private school stuff. Like, it's just all so, it's so whack and unique and stuff. Whatever. I was very miserable at that school. It was also because I was commuting and I had a lot of life changes. I'll get into that for the Stetson University episode. Let's fast forward to the next year. I go to Santa Fe College. Yup, they're not bulldogs. They are a different type of dog and I don't remember it. But yeah, so I go to Santa Fe College. Santa Fe College is located in Gainesville, Florida. So I move away from my home. I also live on a sailboat. I feel like I should tell you guys that, but that's a story, and that's not really like a that detailed story, but like I always forget to like kind of throw that in there. And like when people find that out about me, they're like, what? You live on a boat? I'm like, yeah, kind of. I do live on a boat. I live on a sailboat. Anyways, I move away from the sailboat, and I also move away from New Jersey, and I get an apartment in Gainesville, Florida, because there's no way I can commute to Gainesville, Florida. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours away from said boat, and it's obviously on the other side of the country, north and south ways of New Jersey. People get frustrated with me when I say that, and I can understand why, but I just like to say it because I'm dramatic. Like, yeah, I had to move across the country, but north and south ways, not east and west. That's irritating now that I think about it, but it's funny. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it. So yeah, I moved to Gainesville, Florida to go to Santa Fe College. Santa Fe College is not necessarily a community college, I think. I don't think it's classified as a community college, but it's giving community college. Like, it feels like that. It's like a stepping stone before you go into a university. I don't think it's a state college. I really don't know what it's classified as technically, but just know it's giving community college vibes, like you're about to go somewhere else after this. So I go there because it has a track record of having a better acceptance rate into UF if you go there. If you're trying to transfer to UF, there is like a higher chance you'll get in if you went to Santa Fe, which also isn't necessarily true. A lot of people think if you go to Santa Fe, like, you get an immediate in into UF, and that's just completely not true, because you have to fill out an application, just like anyone else, and you actually have to be a good student to get in. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I went to Santa Fe and have like a 2.5 GPA and think you're gonna get into UF, especially for like architecture. Like, maybe for other majors, I'm not really sure the GPA requirements for other majors, but yeah, so people think that it's just like the stepping stone gateway in. No, that's not worded right. It is a stepping stone, but a lot of people think it's just like an immediate acceptance, which it's not. But there's also a bunch of programs, like, I don't know if it's like a sister school or whatnot. I really don't know those terminologies that well. But hold on, let me move this. What was I talking? Oh, so I don't really know if it's like a sister school or something. Like, I don't really understand that terminology, but basically there are programs where it's like, if you apply to UF out of high school, and they're like, oh, well, we're accepting you, but not yet. So they're like, go to Santa Fe for 2 years or a year and then come to UF. Like, they do a lot of programs like that, which I think can confuse regular transfers that they are automatically into UF. Like, I think that's why, like, all this Sorry, that was my grandma's phone. This whack phone. It's like a Google Pixel. Oh, 37 minutes until it's full charged, and that's about at the end of the episode, so it's actually perfect. So I'm just gonna keep yapping for like another half hour, if that's okay with you guys. Let's see if I can even get there. But my mouth is like really dry. I should have brought water out, but it's fine. Oh my god. Her phone makes these random noises and I don't even know why. Like, I don't understand how to work this phone. There's no notifications. Like, why is it making all these noises? Anyways, I think the reason why people think if they go to Santa Fe, like, they're gonna automatically get an EF no matter how they do is because of those programs that exist and, like, word of mouth and just things get all confused. So yeah, that's not true. But I went to Santa Fe for a year. My first semester, I did a lot. I took 5 classes. I took 17 credits, which was, like, way too much, but it's fine. I was on grind mode. I was trying to get into UF. What was I saying? Basically, okay, so I took 5 classes. 3 of them were online and 2 were in person, and that was not a good decision. I thought it was, like, gonna be great. Like, I was like, oh my god, I only have to go to class Tuesday, Thursday, and I have all these online classes. Like, I can visit New Jersey and see my boyfriend and see my friends whenever I want. Yeah, no, that did not happen. It did not make it any easier. Yes, I had a very flexible schedule because I only had to be at school Tuesday and Thursday, like, physically. But those online classes were really hard. I took science and math online. I don't know why in the world I did that, but I thought it was, like, a great idea. Because after Stetson, I was highly contemplating going to school full-time online so that I could be wherever I wanted to be, like, whenever. Like, I was just, like, really missing New Jersey. I was really missing, like, my friends and my boyfriend and, you know, like, my life that I had there for, like, 10 years. So I was really missing that, and I was like, okay, if I do online school, I can be in 2 places at once, is, like, kind of the way I was thinking. I was like, I can be in Florida, I can be in New Jersey, like, I can flop it, but that didn't happen, and I still had responsibilities. I had to be at school. But it did make it easy for me to visit home, as in Daytona, more often. Like, I would go home every weekend for, like, the first month, and then gas was, like, extremely expensive because it was, like, a full tank every week, so that's, like, $200 a month, because my tank is, like, 50-something bucks, and gas is super expensive. But, yeah, then I slowly made it so that it was, like, every other weekend I would go home, or, like, every 3 weeks, like, something like that. Yeah, so, and I was also living alone for the first time, but none of that shocked me. Like, I wasn't, like, really, I think doing that online class and, like, barely being at school and only having to go to school and physically be there twice a week was a great adjustment to me living by myself. I was in a horrid apartment unit at my apartment complex. My apartment complex was not in a nice area, but I didn't know that because I did a little research, but not enough, and then a lot of your information comes from word of mouth and, like, Reddit, and I didn't know what Reddit was until my boyfriend told me the day I moved into my apartment and was like, yeah, you're kind of in a bad neighborhood. So then I started to get very anxious. I grew a lot of anxiety of things happening to me. My first year of college, I had a lot of anxiety, period. Like, a lot of anxiety just started happening for me. And I think I was always anxious growing up, like, especially with cheer. Like, that's when it came out. Like, I would have mental breakdowns at cheer, like, when I had to go full out, and it's like, my coaches would be like, Chiaki, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know, like, I can't do this, like, whatever, like, fully, like, up to the day I was, like, quit. I wouldn't do this, like, every day, but sometimes, like, it would just get so overwhelming. I'm fully, like, the captain of the team, and there's, like, little girls next to me who probably look up to me, not to toot my own horn, but just because I'm, like, an older person, like, they probably look up to me, and I'm just, like, sobbing my eyes out for practice. Like, oh my god, I was so mental with cheer. Like, that was also the reason why I was like, don't cheer in college. Anyways, another cheer story. I cheered my freshman year at Stetson University, and then I quit cheering when I went to Santa Fe and lived at Gainesville because they didn't have a cheer team. And also, even if they did, I told myself I needed a break. Like, it was just way too much. Like, so much was going on. I was like, yeah, you need to take a break. You need to lock in and, like, literally be perfect at school so that I can get into UF. That was literally the goal. So, anyways, I lived in a horrid, like, just dirty apartment unit. And then I switched to a different unit. It was a little bit more expensive. It was like $10 more a month or something. Because a lot of apartment units have, like, tiers to them. It's like, oh, this floor plan and that floor plan. And then it's like premium and platinum and all this and that. And I was like, I don't need any of that. But yes, I did, because this wooden countertop, like, dingy, dark apartment that I was in was awful. And then I upgraded to, like, granite countertops. And it was just, like, my kitchen experience was elevated. But that is where I met my besties for college. I went into college, like, telling myself I don't want to make any friends. I literally just want to go to school, grind, and get out. I've learned a lot in these past 3 years. And I really set myself up for failure with certain things like that, but it's okay. So I switched to a different apartment unit, and I was switched into this place where I had 3 other roommates, and they were all friends, and they're all from Miami. And I was like, and they're all younger than me, like, by a year, but they go to Santa Fe and not UF. So it's like, we're all going to the same place, and they're, like, around my age. But all I cared about was that they were clean, because my apartment was so dirty before. And when I walked in, I was like, the AC was, like, blasting. I guess they had a candle, because as soon as I walked in, it smelled so good. It, like, smacked me in my face, and I was like, perfect. I'm okay with living here. Speed forward, we become besties. I love them, and they are the only reason why I literally get through every day over there. And they were trying to get into UF as well. So, they made my second year of college experience so much better. I still stayed home all the time, but, like, I would go out and do things with them. Like, we would go grocery shopping together, we would go play soccer, we would just run errands together, and we became close, and, like, I really loved that, and it was super fun. So that was my Santa Fe experience. It was, like, honestly, it's kind of a fever dream, because I honestly forgot I went there. Like, it feels like so long ago, but it wasn't, but it also was. It was like a year ago, so I don't know. And then finally, the golden ticket. In February, I applied to the University of Florida, and I find out that I get in, and I get into the University of Florida, I get into the School of Architecture, and I'm completely elated. I'm like, my life goals are achieved. This is all I've ever wanted my whole life. I've finally accomplished this. I am so happy and proud of myself. So that was super fun. I graduated with my AA from Santa Fe, so I do have that diploma, which is, like, it's something, but I feel like in this day and age, it's nothing. Like, I feel like everyone has their AA and stuff, and it's like, it's just like, okay, you went to 2 years of college, good job. I don't know, like, I'm not, like, trying to, like, be mean to anyone that has their AA and stuff. Like, good for you, good job. I just personally feel like no one cares that I have my AA. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And I think it's just because, like, all of my friends go to college, and, like, they're in their 3rd year, and it's like, okay, like, you know, we're in the same boat. Like, they're like, it don't matter. And I don't know, I get a lot of FOMO, and, like, not FOMO, but just, like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, why couldn't I have picked a university and gotten in and just stayed there for 4 years? Like, why am I, like, hopping around everywhere? You know, but it's okay. Like, I don't regret any of my decisions, and I actually really liked my experience, and I'm actually really happy I didn't get into UF straight out of high school, because it taught me so much, and, like, I know so much more about, like, the college process, like, the transfer process, how to get to places, and, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many colleges you've been to or where you went. Like, at the end of the day, the diploma is going to tell you where you graduated from. Like, say I went to a random school. I went to, like, 5 different schools. And then at the end of the day, I get into Harvard my last year. And then it's like, my diploma says Harvard. Like, no one knows that I wasn't there the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just my take on it. And it's also, like, that has to be my take on it. for me to like be confident in myself and in my decisions that I did this. But anyway, so I get into UF, and I'm accepted into the School of Architecture, and I'm completely elated. However, I have to start in the summer. So I get into the summer program. So that means that I'm doing like 6 semesters of school straight without a break. So that means I did my Santa Fe fall and spring semester, and then I was going to do 2 semesters in the summer A and B, and then fall and spring again, like all at once. And I was prepared. Like I told myself, I was like, you know, this is for your dream. You've wanted to become an architect. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Like, it's okay, like, just to suffer a little bit in the beginning is fine, and then it's all gonna settle in. And I was like, yeah, you got it, whatever. So I start summer, you know, I'm like ready to grind. My whole entire world turns upside down, 360, 180, backflip, car crash, like left down, hurricane, upside down. My whole world is just all over the place, like splat. I'm like, what did I just get myself into? I thought architecture had to do with like, what? Who was texting me? Oh, it's like this thing. My boyfriend runs D1 track, and he goes to school like in New Jersey, and he like signed me up for this thing for like donations for his team and stuff, and like they just send me a bunch of random text messages, and I always think it's like someone random, and I'm like, what is happening? Anyways, so I go to school in the summer at UF. All my roommates are gone, by the way. I'm in the same apartment, and the whole year at Santa Fe, I was like sketched out, and I was completely terrified that someone was going to kill me, or that a loose bullet was going to like fly and ricochet off a tree and off a car and off of all these objects and just like fly through my window and hit me in the ribcage. Like, I was completely irrational. I'm still irrational, but like my biggest fear was just like external things happening to me at Santa Fe. Then come to UF, I start in the summer, and it is like grind time, go time, off the rip, like 1,000% running a marathon. And I'm like, okay, I can do this, because like I'm very hardworking, like I can do this, I'm fully capable of doing this. So basically the way it works is that we did 2 semesters worth of architecture school in the summer. So we did, each semester is 12 weeks. Is it 12 weeks? Is it 12 weeks? I think a semester is 12 weeks. I don't know. But we had 12 weeks for the whole summer. So we had 6 weeks for one semester and 6 weeks for the other semester. So we did, I think it was like, we did 32 weeks of regular school and 12. So it was like, horrible. It was definitely a learning experience, and they don't change the curriculum at all. So like I'm doing a full fall semester worth of course and like time in 6 weeks, and it was like I don't even know how to explain it. Like, this needs to be a whole episode in itself, but I'm not like talking bad about any of my experience at all. I'm just I'm just like explaining what I went through and like how I felt and all that, whatever. I'm just like shining light on it, I think. I don't know. I love UF. Please donate me. Okay, that's a little excessive, like whatever. So I go to UF, and you know, I'm kind of killing it. No, I'm not. So I'm like having so many mental breakdowns, but it's also normal. Like there's so many TAs, and a TA is a teacher assistant, if you don't know what that is. Basically, like, we have a professor for studio, and studio is like a sweatshop where you have a desk and like, you know, like a workshop, like a factory. It was like this huge room with desks lined up in like a bunch of rows, and you didn't get assigned a desk, you like chose a desk, and then like that was your working station for the whole year or the whole summer. So I obviously choose one by the window. Thank God. I was really goated for that decision. Sorry, like I needed to burp and then I was talking funny. So I take the spot by the window. It's goated. I don't know anyone. And I'm kind of like freaking out because I was like, I need to make a good impression. Like, this is what I've wanted to do my whole life, whatever. So I'm just like trying to be friendly with everyone. And yeah, so I don't know why I'm getting into the details of this. Spark notes, Chiaki. Spark notes of what happened. Basically, it was really rigorous. We had something due every single day, and like the whole school system, as you know, your whole life was like completely thrown out the window. Like, you know, you learn like from a PowerPoint or from a lecture or whatever from your professor, you take notes, you read the textbook, you take tests, and that's it. Like, that's how school's been our whole lives, you know? There's a way to be perfect in school. It just takes a lot of work. You know, anyone can be perfect at school. Like, I really believe that. It's just like, it takes a lot of work. I'm not saying I'm perfect at school, but it's like, you know, you're taking physics or organic chemistry or something, and it's like super hard. But at the end of the day, if you sit down and read that textbook, take those notes, if you took like 10 hours out of your day for like 3 days in a row, you're gonna pass that test and be perfect. You know what I mean? It's just no one does that, because who has the time to do that and who wants to do that? You know what I mean? So yeah, but there is an answer to things, and there is a way to, you know, get better. In architecture, this way of school and thought is so different. They'll tell you something like, basically we're making physical things. Like, we're not like taking tests, writing notes and all that stuff. Like, it's like a I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a very different experience. It's like you guys sit around a table and like talk about ideas and stuff, and everything is super conceptual. Everything has its own like vocabulary and stuff that you need to slowly pick up. Like, you know, you're probably thinking it's like, oh, architecture school, you kind of go, there's a lot of math, and you like build a house out of sticks maybe, or you make a little model of a house. But that's not at all what it is. We made like conceptual ideas of cubes, and it was like, but you can't say it's a cube. And it's like, they would tell you things where it's like, make a place that holds books but is not a library. And that just drives you insane, drives you completely mad. But there's a perfectly great and understandable reason as to why they do this. They do this because if someone told you to just build a library, you're probably going to build a box that looks like your hometown library, and that's it. And it's like, it's so obvious, it's extremely recognizable, and there's nothing new about it and innovative about it. Like, but say like build a place to hold books, like maybe my library like opens up and is upside down and like shifts, and then your library is like, I don't know, like it's on a slant, it's like a huge triangle, like the building is shaped like a huge triangle, and it's like, but you have a reason as to why that's the way it is, you know? So it's a design school. Like, we're just learning how to design is like the whole point. But like, to get into that brain, it's like when you teach someone something, I don't know like why I can't think of it, but it's like, oh, it's like the military. That's what it is. Like, they break you and then they build you back up. I'm not trying to compare architecture school to the US military, but it's kind of similar. They kind of break down all the ideas and ways you thought up until this point, like the way you think about school, the way you think about lines and shapes and buildings and thoughts. They like kind of take that, break it, and then they build you up and morph you into a stronger, more like outside of the box thinking, which is great. It's just, it's severely uncomfortable, and it like physically hurts for some reason. Like, your brain, I've never used my brain this much in my life in school or in anything until now. Like, I would get like frontal lobe pains. Like, my brain would actually physically hurt. Like, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but like my brain would actually hurt a lot. Why is my phone like not charging? Is it because I'm recording? That's kind of irritating. Okay, my grandma's phone says it's gonna take 24 minutes to charge. Anyways, so yeah, I went through the summer of that, and I developed a lot of panic attacks. I don't know if that's the right word to explain it, like developed a panic attack. That's just, I feel like that's not correct English. I feel like I can't return to normal school after this because my brain is like broken down, and now I think of things in architectural words and I see things differently. Like my whole view of life has completely changed. Free version recording. Sorry, my little thing that I'm recording this episode on is like giving me a notification. But I'm definitely gonna dive deeper into like all of the architecture stuff and like all of my UF stuff. But basically I did the summer, and it was great. It was a great experience, and I'm so happy, and I actually did really well. But it was like at what expense? Because I was actually miserable, and I have never been so stressed out in my entire life, to the point where I was like having panic attacks on the regular, and I was completely like extremely anxious to the point where I couldn't handle it. Like I would have anxiety attacks and stuff that I couldn't handle or feel comfortable with. Like, yes, I've had like anxiety of like with certain things in my life, and I was super anxious. Like even when I was at Santa Fe, you know, like I was super scared of like exterior things happening to me, but I was still able to like control it and like be okay with those thoughts, I guess. Like it just got really out of hand to the point where I just didn't feel like myself. I didn't know who I was, and it was like really bad. And that's like not the school's fault or anything, but yeah, I was just like, I was burnt out, you know. I went to school for so long. Okay, so then whatever, I do summer, and then you get like a 12-day break, and then I jumped right into fall. So now I'm in fall. I'm still having these panic attacks. I'm still like going through all this stuff, and I get COVID. And I'm like, thank God, because I cannot go to class. But I hated it because I was literally like, my body was in so much pain. Like, ugh, whatever. So I got COVID, whatever. I don't go to class for like a week. What is happening? Sorry, the rain and wind are kind of picking up, so I'm a little scared. But so yeah, I get COVID, whatever, yada yada yada. And I had been thinking in the back of my head that I really need a gap year, and I never wanted to do gap years. Like in high school, I was super headstrong, and I was just like, Chiaki, you're never taking a gap year, because if you do, you're never going back to school. Like never, ever, ever. And then I was like talking to a lot of people, and I was like, okay, like maybe I'll take a gap year between undergrad and graduate school. I was like, I could totally see myself doing that, and that's great. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll take a gap year after this year. You know, after I get through the spring and fall, and I'll take one next year. And then I was like, oh, this is getting a little rough. Like maybe I'll just get through the fall and take a gap year starting spring, because the architecture program is only offered like every other semester. Like, so if I missed a semester, I'd have to wait a whole year to start, like to pick up where I left off. So I was like, okay, like I'll just go again like next spring, whatever. And then I was like, how about I just take my gap year now, because I really can't handle this. And I get a visceral nausea reaction, panicky mode every time I step foot or get near campus. So yeah, I was struggling, and then I decided to take a gap year now, and I withdrew from class. I talked to, like, you know, my professors and my advisors, obviously, and they were all extremely super supportive and stuff. And, you know, I still have my spot next fall, like, for me to return and stuff. So, yeah, right now I'm not in college, which is really weird. Like, I don't really know how I feel about it, but, you know, this is the decision that I made, and I have to be extremely confident in it, or else it's gonna blow up in my face. So that's where we're at now, and that's also why I wanted to start this podcast, because I've always wanted to have a podcast and stuff, and then I always come up with these elaborate ideas, and I just never pull through. And I feel like I need to like actually pull through this time, because I feel like I'm not alone. Like, I know that there's a bunch of other teenage, early 20s kids, girls, people my age, like, going through similar emotions, similar thoughts, or even like the similar path that I'm going through. So I just want to share my experience, and I just wanted to take everyone through this journey of what I'm going to be doing to better myself, and just what I'm doing in my early 20s. Like, it's just such a scary, uncomfortable time, and I just feel like sharing it and talking about it is going to help not only me, but maybe someone else out there. So before I end this episode, I think I just wanted to circle back to the title, or the title of the podcast. Is that like just what the podcast is called? Am I a Genius? I decided that I'm gonna name this podcast Am I a Genius because in times of absolute panic or just like feeling super down, this past year, like especially with architecture and stuff, I would get like so freaked out and so crazy. Like, I couldn't sleep because I would think about my projects. Like, I would literally be like designing buildings and projects like in my head, and it was so loud to the point where I couldn't sleep. Like, I had to get up and start sketching in my notebook in order for me to go to sleep. And I was like, I must be Vincent van Gogh. Like, I must be the next biggest, best architect in this world, because why am I so insane? Like, I felt so insane these past few months. Like, I actually genuinely felt crazy, and I feel like a lot of people feel like that, obviously, but I'm like super passionate about this field and stuff, and I felt like I must be a genius. Like, that was the only possible, like, it sounds funny, but I would fully convince myself that it was true too. Like, it's kind of a joke, but it kind of isn't. Like, I would literally sit there, like, in my bathtub, like, full mental breakdown, and be like, am I a genius? Like, I must be a genius. Like, I am the next Brunelleschi. I am the next Van Gogh. I am the next, is Steve Jobs, like, a genius? I don't think he is. I mean, that's not, like, an opinion. I just don't know. I don't know what you classify a genius, but I felt like something was different with me. I'm not trying to be like a pick-me girl, like, I'm different and I'm unique and all this and that. Like, I just fully felt insane this past year, and I was like, I'm literally like having such a different experience than everyone around me and like all my peers, like all my friends from home that go to college, or all my friends in college, or all my friends at my other college, or all my friends at my other college. Like, I just felt like I was on such a different path than everyone else, and I was like, I must be a literal genius. Like, that is the only way I will feel comfortable feeling this uncomfortable in my life. I was like, that is the explanation as to why I'm feeling the way I am. So, yeah, this podcast is called Am I a Genius? Hosted by yours truly, Chiaki Worsham. I'm 20 years old, about to turn 21 in December, and I just want to take you guys along this journey, especially this year, this gap year, and what I'm going to work on for myself, the decisions I make, how to better myself, what I'm gonna do to like frame my early 20s and whatnot. That was just a whole bunch of stuff that I just whipped out of nowhere. But yeah, I guess I hope, oh my god, my grandma's phone. I'm gonna throw this thing out the window. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you for sitting with me in my car while I charged up me and my grandma's phone. My phone literally didn't charge at all, but that's fine. My grandma's is about to be full charge, and that's all she wanted, so that's great. I will catch you guys at the next episode. I hope to eventually become like a weekly podcast dropper. That's like the goals, and I definitely want them to all be visual. It's just I was lazy and scared, and I was just lazy to go grab my camera, and I just was like, all right, we're gonna film a podcast now, and that's it. Okay, hope you guys have a great day. I'm literally dragging. Have a great day. Stay safe if you're affected by the hurricane. My prayers go out to you. I really hope that you and your family are safe. If you're in college struggling, I feel you. You got this. We all got this. Okay. Maybe you should question if you're a genius or not. I feel like that would be very helpful. Okay, I'm babbling. Peace out. Bye.